You might think Christmas is a long way away, Thanksgiving is a long way away. It's not. I find because I love fall and autumn so much, I find that the summer goes on forever, and I find that fall is very, very short. It just goes by in a blink. Before I know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving. And even though we don't celebrate Thanksgiving over here, I do have a little, you know, a little do myself because I remember once an American couple invited me over for Thanksgiving in London and I had a wonderful time and the food was fantastic. And you know that I love to cook. So it's not long before turkeys will be made, cranberry sauce will be made, and I'm going to give you some secrets to making this stuff in the near future in another podcast. Um, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, yes, Mariah Carey. She's already put her concert list out. She's already unveiled her concert list, which I'm sure will be, I'm sure that people will be rushing to go and see Mariah Carey's Christmas concert. So, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, I love all of these holidays and they're just around the corner. So, yeah, I just wanted to intro with that because I'm going to be talking about a little bit more serious things in this podcast. I was told a few months ago that there was nothing going on with Natasha and MRB anymore, that was done and dusted. And it sounds like, or it seems like it appears to be still ongoing. Now, I am quite neutral when it comes to both Cooper and MRB. I don't dislike MRB. I think she's done some good work on her channel. Some people say her What stuff is the best stuff that she's ever done on her channel. And she got some very, very good views for her What's stuff. The content that she did on that case. And, Natasha Cooper, blah, blah, blah. I think it's good that I don't blooper these things because at the end of the day, I'm not perfect and I do lose my train of thought and I've got to get back on track. And I think it's good that I show you that I'm imperfect and that sometimes I can't get my words out. But anyway, Natasha Cooper, she's done some good stuff on her channels and she obviously has a very, very loyal following. I don't dislike her, neither do I like her particularly. So I'm quite neutral when it comes to this topic. I don't see why there still has to be a thing between them back and forth because as far as I'm concerned, regardless of how I feel about Natasha Cooper, whether I like her or not, she shouldn't really be on this platform anymore. And, MRB, we all know that she has her flaws. She has many, many flaws. And we also know about the JBell situation, which I don't have a complete full knowledge of. I've just heard about it. I've heard bits about it, and I'm trying to research and catch up on that. But I don't know everything about the JBell situation. But I know it happened, and I know that these things happen online. We live in a digital world where we're forming friendships and relationships online. We're living in a world of AI. Which, how do people feel about AI? What do you think about AI? Because I'm kind of concerned about the whole AI thing. But anyway, that's another topic altogether. But what I can tell you is if an online friend told me that they were going to give me 70 grand, first of all, I'd say, ha ha ha, I'd laugh. Second of all, I'd say, I'll believe it when it's in my account. Because I don't just take people's word for it. Never have, never will. So when it comes to being online or even offline for that matter, I believe probably about 50% of what I see and none of what I hear until it's verified. And, if you look at the Truth Channel community and what's happened there, I mean, believe it or not, I used to be very friendly with Val. And I did something she didn't like, and she made, she made some comments about that in a video. And now we're no longer friends or friendly with each other at all. In fact, we are very unfriendly with each other, and I'm putting it mildly, But I used to get on with Val. She used to come to my channel. We used to exchange. Um, you know, we used to have a very, very good comradeship. with each other, camaraderie, and now not so much. And you see that with the truth community, the truth community over AD. With what happened with AD and the whole Claire Morgan situation, you see people who still stuck by the family, and then you see people who didn't, and then you see people splintering off into their own little group subsections. People who are, you've got the group that's extremely supportive of the family and always will be, regardless of what the family do. And then you've got other people in another group that speak out against some of the things that they believe the family has done and are on the opposing side. And then you've got the back and forth between these sides. And, you see that online, how friendships can really fizzle out over something very small or very big, depending on what you consider to be a big deal or a small deal. Like I said, I used to be good friends with Val, or at least maybe not good friends. Good friends is not a word because it's only online friendship. I used to be friendly with Val. I'll put it that way. I used to be friendly with her. I'm not friendly with her anymore. So, online friendships versus friendships that we've had forever since childhood, real life friendships. Online friendships are actually more common nowadays than anything else. And, me personally, I can read people very, very easily. And once something is over for me, once something is over, it's over. I'm not going to dip my foot back into the water once something is done. Once I'm done with something, I'm done with it. And, I'm done with a lot of things. One thing I try not to do on my channel either is I try not to participate in being in groups or on sides too much. There are people that I'm friendly with that have different opinions to me, and that is fine. I don't expect everyone to agree with all of my opinions, but I try not to be in a constant back and forth with various people or different groups that's not what my YouTube channel is for. My YouTube channel is to hopefully educate. It's a laid back, informal channel, but hopefully I can educate people, entertain people in some way, share things that I'm going through, and give my different perspective on different cases. And that's what I hope to do. I didn't join YouTube, or I didn't become a creator to be in a back and forth or a constant back and forth with everybody. I try to be as positive as possible. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. There are times when I will, let my voice be heard in a not so friendly way. But I try to deal with a situation, have my say, and then I move on. I try not to be in a constant back and forth. And if I do continue to talk about certain people, it's because I want to educate you about a certain type of person. And I will be doing that as I go forward. I want to do a video on a particular person that I was friends with. And, I think I've done a good job of showing who he really is. But I think he's shown himself by his own behavior. So, like I said, guys, if there's anything you take from this podcast is be mindful, be careful, and don't just believe something because you're told it, no matter how convincing somebody can be. Remember, people with certain personality traits are very, very convincing. They're smooth talkers. We have to be able to see beyond the smooth talking. And don't believe in something until you see it. Like I said, when I'm notified that I'm going to get a payment into my bank account, I don't believe it until I see it in my bank account. So, I never believe that I'm actually going to get paid until I see the payment in my account, until I actually go to my cash machine and I see that the money's in there. And that's how we all have to take things in this life, particularly now we're living in the world of AI and everything is digital. Let's try and believe things when we actually see them and have proof, rather than take someone's word for it. It's like with Dave. Everyone has jumped onto this idea that Frank Sr. called Chris and asked about Nico. But there's no proof of that. That's just something that Dave has said, but there is no proof of that. There's no recording of that. And I'm not saying it did or didn't happen, but I'm saying there's no proof of it. But people keep quoting that as if it's the truth. But we don't know that because we don't have any proof that this conversation ever happened. And that's what I mean. Let's believe things when we actually see it come to fruition rather than believing things before. I hope that when you listen to my podcast that you can take something from it. I hope that I can educate you in some way. I'm not pretending to be the most educated person. I went to a private school, but I'm still not pretending to be. I'm not pretending that I've got all these fancy degrees. My learning comes from life experience and my experience with people. And I've grown to learn that we cannot trust anyone. And even my uncle in America, he's single. Well, he's not single. He has a live-in girlfriend partner, but they're not really together anymore. She takes care of his dogs. He's got the outdoor dogs, which are the pits, and he's got the indoor dogs, which are the small dogs. And they live in a nice house in Florida. You'd think he's rich if you met him, probably. They've got nice cars. She's basically living off of him. But she also provides food for him. She cooks his meals. She takes care of his animals when he's away. She takes care of the house. She's got all this fancy decor in the house, fancy furniture. And, he gets a lot out of being with her. And my uncle is not, he's worked hard all his life. He doesn't have any children. So he's been able to save up, and he has a nice house, and he has a pretty, good life, and he didn't come from anything. He saved up, he worked, and he's got a nice house, he's got nice cars, and he's not, he's not financially strapped by any means. But he's one of these people he is a fantasist. And people who are fantasists, they'll sell you a dream. And what they will do is they will look for your weaknesses, and they will play on your weaknesses. And they will also, if they think that you are interested in important people, or they feel like you have the desire to know or be known by important people, famous people, dignitaries, they'll often sell this idea that they're friends with a famous person. And they'll tell you fantastical things that don't add up to anything. And my uncle is one of these people. Once I wanted to go to Miami, Florida. I mean, I've been there before. It's not like I've never been there before. I've been there twice. Because when I've gone to Jamaica in the past, what we would do is we would take the plane from Heathrow, go to Miami, Florida, and then from Miami, Florida, we'll take Air Jamaica to Jamaica. So I've been to Miami before, but I wanted to go on this summer holiday once. And I planned this trip to Miami, and my uncle said he's going to pay for everything, pay for the hotels, pay for this, pay for that. And it turned out that he was selling me a fantasy. And after that, I never was friends with my uncle again. And my uncle is a very cool guy. However, he is a fantasist, and he will sell you a fantasy because he likes the reaction that he's going to get out of you. And what I want to tell people today, what I want you to take from this podcast is that no matter how nice somebody comes across, no matter how nice and genuine someone seems, we always have to have that bit of self-doubt or doubt about them. Better to be safe than sorry, because we can't trust people, especially people we've never met. We can't trust people online, no matter how caring and nice they may seem. Because what I'm saying is people will play on your weaknesses. Fantasists and people of certain personality types, they will play on your weaknesses, and they will play you for a fool. And no one can do that to me because of my life experiences, because I learned very early on not to take people's word for it, to verify for myself. And that's what I want to also impart on people today, is that don't necessarily believe what I tell you or anyone else tells you. Get the facts first. And it's, you have these people online who they befriend you, and you think that they have your best interests at heart, until something happens one day and you realize that they never had your best interests at heart. And that's what I found out with Cartoon. I found out that she was never really my friend because of something that happened. And maybe if that something hadn't happened, I would still be friends with her. It just so happens that she got found out because of this situation that happened. I found her out. But maybe if that situation didn't happen, I would still be friends with her and I never would have found her out.